Welcome back to Good Morning Hospitality, where today we are jumping in. It is December 1st, and we're covering the news around what happened in the industry last week, where Evolve acquired 1,000 homeowner contracts from Casago. We're also going to look at some counterintuitive moves happening with luxury escapes. And of course, we got some fun future of vacation rental stats coming up with Jamie Lane. So jump right in, grab that coffee, and let's begin. Good morning.
You can't beat me.
I know. I never can. You're too fast. You're too fast, Brandy. Good morning. Happy Monday, December 1st. We're at the final stretch of the year.
I know. I can't actually believe it's December 1st. That's. I feel like just yesterday it was the beginning of 2025.
Yeah.
Anyone else have an elf visit them this morning? First day of December?
No.
Yeah, Michael's nodding his head.
And one of those I forget what they're called, little houses with all the numbers on them and put
Advent calendar.
Yeah.
Advent calendar. That's it. Yep. So Christmas season is here. The tree is up. The turkey's gone. Thank goodness.
Who's blasting
I don't know about
Christmas
you guys
music already?
Yeah, that's definitely happening. I don't know about you guys, but turkey is one of my least favorites, but you kind of feel obligated to eat it.
It's actually really, my stepdad makes this really awesome turkey broth after the day after. And that's really what I'm here for. And I have a bunch of it that I brought home. So it's just that's the turkey itself is means to an end, you know?
Mm-hmm.
We had some excellent leftover turkey enchiladas last night that were... Yeah.
Drown that turkey in cheese.
Yeah.
Anything to get rid of the dryness.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Well, starting with a new month, a new podcast intro for all of our live viewers. So shout out to the internal team at Skiff that helped make that new video. You guys like it? What do you think? Yes,
yeah,
no?
Nice and fresh.
All right. Yeah. I was like, all right, we're getting freshened up a little bit here. But I'm excited for today's episode because there's I think we're going to get a really good, juicy Brandy rant. So I'm pretty excited about that. Get ready for the clips to come out on that one. And to also dive into some strong opinions, I would say. But
is this how I get canceled?
Yeah. This is it. This is how we end the career of Brandy Canaley. Just kidding. But before that, give me one highlight from Thanksgiving. Give me one outside of the food and the dried turkey. I need one. Brandy, I know you had quite the winter experience with
yes,
the camp.
I was in the Adirondacks. We had a lot of snow, and my highlight definitely was playing over 12 games of Catan with my brother-in-law and my sister. We just constantly going. There were other games played with other members of the family, but the three of us, my brother-in-law's wife, my sister, called us menaces. She was like, at any point, we were just listening to disco and playing Catan. So
I like that.
That was my
great
highlight.
combo. Great combo.
I like that. We had a bunch of my college friends over and family, cousins, all that on Saturday. So good to have a lot of old familiar faces back around.
Yeah, old familiar. You call old? Call your friends old?
Two of my college buddies are gray, which is wild.
Oh wow! There's a reminder of the march of time.
Yeah. I only have one, but
Impressive. Jamie, how was Thanksgiving while also having a property that you were hosting guests at?
Yeah. I was overall good. And Brandy, maybe you can relate to this. The expectations going to Thanksgiving when they're playing over $1,200 a night.
Oh yeah.
I felt like everything needed to go perfect. They asked me the day before how good my knives were.
You have a roasting pan. Are they going to be able to cook a Thanksgiving meal in the house?
Can I have a commercial kitchen, please?
Basically? So I was like, and we were prepared for this. I'm like, I've got nice knives. You've got a roasting pan, all these things. That then they get there and it's like, well, are they going to think the knives are nice enough? Like, did they meet their expectation? And like,
Yeah.
got the review last night, 5 stars.
Let's
They
go.
were so
Nice.
excited. They called out how great the kitchen was, how sharp the knives were, like all the things. So
That's
I feel like I
amazing.
passed my vacation rental one-on-one test of hosting a Thanksgiving guest.
I think going to a short-term rental or vacation rental for Thanksgiving is like such a bold move, because that kitchen, like you're saying, like, is my standard of what is enough for Thanksgiving enough for these people? Like, Thanksgiving is so complex and layered with like people's expectations and their levels of cooking. Like, do you have a giant ricer that I can use? Like, did that come in the kitchen? Because how am I supposed to make those creamy mashed potatoes without it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. If I'm going to a vacation rental for Thanksgiving, I might not be pre-making everything, but everything's prepared to go. It's popping in the oven prepared, not I need to start from scratch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're taking
I
a
don't-
very, very big and bold move for the holidays.
Big risk.
Yeah.
Big risk.
Yeah, big
How
risk.
about you, Will? How was your Thanksgiving? What was your highlight?
Oh, chill. I got to Summit. Well, so almost Summit. I turned around because the weather was getting really bad and it was fighting like 35, 40 mile an hour winds. But I got to Summit Longs Peak, which was my first class 3 mountain, which was really fun. So lots of scrambling, lots of fun up in the mountains. Can't complain. I'm this close though. Like I promise, like I'm fighting every urge in my body to buy a camper van and just like hit the road, you know? So
It's the next step in your evolution.
it is. I was on Facebook Marketplace too much last night and was so close to doing it. I was like, all right, I got to stop. I got to chill.
You'll need a podcasting tent.
100%.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's the extension of the tent.
Yes, 100%. But thankfully, no camper vans were purchased during this long weekend, and it was nice and relaxing. And I'm also making more homemade meals now because you guys know how notorious I was for Uber Eats. And let's just say my homemade French fries are crushing. So
Nice.
yeah. Anyways, let's get into the first topic of today, which I think is going to be a pretty short one, but I know we all have some pretty strong opinions. And so coming up on the agenda, we had Evolve acquire over 1,000 owner contracts from Casago. Kind of an like no-brainer move because this was from Vacasa's brand called Guestworks, which is more of an Evolve model already. So not under the full operation and management agreement that Casago really wants and strives for. So when you guys saw this, thoughts, comments, questions, concerns?
I didn't have a ton of, I might be the least controversial maybe here. I thought this is just like a kind of logical next step in the industry trying to digest this acquisition or this sale. And, we saw Avari being formed to become another franchise. So I wasn't totally shocked.
Yeah, I think I'd love to know the multiple on this one, because how many buyers are there out there? There's Eric Brion's company and there's Evolve, and I'm guessing it was like a very low multiple sale for this one, in what should be a probably fairly high multiple business because it's not very hands-on and labor intensive. But I guess my only comment would be that they sold it, they got rid of it, it's off their books. Good for them, good for Costco, no matter what price you got for it. And my guess is Evolve got it for a heck of a deal, so it's a win-win all around.
I'll say this. I was going to say congratulations on Casago on keeping the focus. I'm sure that could have been an easy thing to be like, we're generating a good amount of cash flow off of it. Like it's not too hard to keep the team that's operating it and keep it going. But in the sort of the season of focus, which I know I'm trying to get that whole model working. Like congrats on keeping that focus and getting off the books.
Well said, Jamie. The focus part, you never think about it until you get all the shiny distracting objects in front of you.
Until we're at our predictions episode and then doing the reflection on that, being like, oh yeah, they didn't do that.
100%. And for any potential new listeners, our predictions episode, we do 2 a year. One in the beginning of the year where we actually make our predictions for that year. And then at the end in December where we revisit, see what we hit and what we missed. So just get ready because in about 2 weeks, I think, we have our revisit episode coming up where we're going to see what the four of us predicted and what came true and what didn't come true. I'm pretty sure Sonder and Vacasa are part of our predictions, but TBD we'll revisit. And if you are listening, go back to the old episode, give it a listen. Anyways, had to do it, guys. Sorry, the host in me had to.
Yeah, of course, a little sprinkling of
yeah.
something's coming.
Yeah, put that promo in there. But yeah, very good point, Jamie. And so, should we move on to the next topic, or any more thoughts, comments, or questions, concerns?
No, I think we'll just probably see a couple more of these happen, and
Yeah. Give me a guess. How many more acquisitions do you guys think we'll see in the following month?
Well, if we're talking, a month. I don't know about month.
Do you think
but
we'll see anything, any type of transactional activity?
I feel like Michael might have something to say. No,
Not in December, but I thought you were going to say next year, and I was going to say at least 50.
50.
Minimum of 50. Just not that bold of a prediction. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Well,
Michael's
I think this
perpetual consolidation is coming prediction. Yeah.
Hey, it is, isn't it? It sure is. It's here.
Something that's happening like underneath like the radar, and we can maybe see in a 6 months or something. But all the companies that are snapping up Sonder's inventory, like that's not going to be an acquisition, right? They're just kind of like contacting landlords to pick up those buildings. So in 6 months, we can go and see who's grown the most, who's taken some of those. I can't wait to see who has 17 West. That was one we were really after in Miami in the early days. So excited to see who has that now.
100%. I'm sure Jamie's tracking all of that with all of his stats and data metrics stuff.
The number of requests I've gotten to send the list of all the Sonder addresses was high.
I was going to say. I love it. And hello, Mia, for those who are watching. Brandy has made a special guest appearance today.
Yeah.
So shout out.
She's just, there she is.
Yeah. Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if we hear some more Casago announcements, right? Like, they said and after the acquisition, they're going to be getting rid of those their markets, and they got rid of this sort of 1,000 listings, which were spread out across. We already heard what it was a few weeks ago of one of the big swaths of markets sort of get acquired. So, and probably some more.
I feel like instead of a company acquiring a market, like a big market or a big chunk, I think the Avari model of like someone raising funds to create a company to become a franchise might be the way to go. I don't know how many people are going to be able to take on that many units.
Yeah, it's a foreign concept to most of us on this podcast. The 0 to 1 phase is the fun part, and we like it a lot, but a lot of people don't. And so raise money, buy an established book of business, and be able to run from there. So I get it, but it's just not in my nature, unfortunately.
It's the PE play.
The PE play.
Yeah. 100%. Well, moving on to a new topic, and the reason why I picked this one as a story to highlight on today's episode is because I love when brands go against the grain, and for me, this is a big anti-AI move in some degree. So shout out to Luxury Escapes, who is betting big on brick and mortar for their travel business. I'm a fan of this, like I said, just because as everyone's going all in on AI, and I don't think AI is very great right now. The quality and the value is very low. People are still craving the human connection, and people are still craving like expertise. And right now, AI is very much general. It's a very big generalist. I would say there's no AI expert, even with all these segmented AI tools or whatever. They're all based off of the same core structure, like foundation of ChatGPT, OpenAI. So I think this is great. Thoughts, comments?
Yeah, I love it. I get my energy from people. The whole digital world is getting better to a point that lives are simpler. But I think my fear with this brick and mortar concept is that it's a few years too early So I like the play. I like the long-term vision. I just don't know how successful it's going to be in the first couple of years.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. Just can I get your take on what was listed in that article around the growth in booking price, like from 2000 to 35 to 4 to 6?
Yeah, it's not that you can make more money by having in-store bookings. It's changing enough consumer behavior to having them actually go inside the store,
Mhm.
right? I love the concept of someone giving us ideas on places to go, and I loved the reference of Google AI is going to give everybody the same hidden gems, and they're no
Mhm.
longer hidden because that's all Google can crawl and see and find. But having an actual human saying, well, you might not want to go to Paris. Why don't you try Budapest
Mhm.
instead? And having just a shift of mindset. But I think they're going to have to fight the battle of changing consumer behavior, which is a very challenging thing to do.
Yeah,
I-
I've been seeing a lot lately on like the changes. It's not necessarily changes in like overall consumer behavior, but in the behavior of like the super wealthy. And there's been a couple of articles just about how the new things that are like luxury items are time, convenience, efficiency, personalization. And so I see this, I mean, as like tapping into the more like upper middle class and higher level. I agree with Michael that like it's going to take time to get people to actually like walk into a store. But for ultra luxury, I think that people are already like that class already wants to pay for the efficiency, although maybe even walking into the store is below that. So maybe this is falling like up in between both of those like consumer classes. But I think that there is like a certain level of consumer that just wants, that is paying that, like now there's like another type of luxury, which is this full service offering.
Brandy, do you follow, or any of you guys, the Travel with Livy? She's like this luxury travel agent that like serves the ultra wealthy, and she like has videos on TikTok and on Instagram of like her interactions with these like
I'm going to now.
millionaires.
Yeah, I've seen a couple on Instagram, but I don't follow.
But and it was part of the point I was going to make was, and you see it with the luxury, but you also see it with just Gen Z and even millennials in general, of sort of the pushback of the digital, of like going back to analog, going back to things, how things used to go. And when digital travel first started, it was amazing. Like, I have all this information at my fingertips. I can book now myself. I don't have to go through a travel agent. I can find hotels. I can do all this stuff. And now like every single bit of information is at your fingertips. And then you spend a day, 2 days, 3 days, a week sort of planning this trip, when you could have someone plan that ultimate trip for you. And what's really unique about the travel segment is like you can essentially do it for free, because there's so much and money between like that can happen for the like the hotel sort of paying for that booking, all the things that sort of go into and it essentially be a free experience. And especially when you're able to tack on all the experiences, things like that, like I think it's a great way to really increase the experience and ultimately the amount people spend.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, like, the kind of on the consumer behavior point from Michael is kind of what you were just saying, Jamie, where I feel like the consumer behavior is actually seeking this type of in-person experience, where in our Mic Check newsletter last week, we featured an interview from Invest Like the Best. And it was Ari Emanuel, who's the owner of WWE, UFC, all these big live event type of experience companies. And I do think with the amount of, from COVID to now this big push of AI and just the amount of consumption we're all doing on our phones and screens and digital in general, that the live event, the live experience, the actual in-person piece is so much more valuable right now. And it's the anti-AI move, right? Because like AI can only do so much until it get, like Brandy was saying, like until it involves boots on the ground or until it involves that human piece. And I think, that's what a lot of us are craving right now. It's like, oh my gosh, we just got inundated with all of this AI and digital and, BS in my opinion in a lot of ways, but like it is now. I think these experiences, these live in person pivots, where Luxury Escapes is betting big on brick and mortar. Maybe Michael's right; they're early, but I think people are craving, they're seeking it out, and so having that option is super important. Yeah,
I think you're spot on. And Rafet had a great post about this over the holiday break, where Skipped is leaning more and more into the human aspect and the personal touch and getting people together. I think that is spot on and accurate. I think it's a little bit different in the booking process of actually going somewhere and consulting with another human, especially where inspiration comes from. Inspiration comes from digital. It comes from Instagram. It comes from social media, etc. The only other thing I'd say here is I'm with you 100% on the kind of fatigue of travel planning, because it's so much information now. But I'll go back to the all-inclusive was wonderful. Like it's just 0 decisions. I had never done one. I can't say enough about how enjoyable of a vacation it was to not make any decisions and not have to plan cars and dinner reservations and yada yada. So I'll leave it there.
Are either of you guys getting a bunch of like Instagram ads on Fora Travel, the Fora Travel Advisor?
I've seen it before. I just got inundated with all the things I want to buy for Black Friday. So it's kind of Bombas is really trying to get me to buy socks. But I have seen them.
Okay. Yeah, no, I was only asking because I feel like I'm getting targeted every other reel against travel advisories, and it's always Fora. So anyways.
Yeah. Well, speaking of being inundated with data and information, Jamie, I feel like you have a stat of the week for us.
Yeah, and so I'm going to give this stat, and we're going to try something new where people, and you guys are going to guess, and then we're also have people sort of put into the comments, YouTube, LinkedIn, wherever you're listening, and we'll see if anyone can guess it. So this week I'm starting early or easy, so we should be able to get this one.
Now I'm nervous.
The stat of the week is 75.
75 million travelers.
I'll get 75%.
Okay.
Just 75 is all we get. 75%.
I want to say occupancy, but that just doesn't sound right.
Yeah, occupancy
for the rest of the year.
But it's for a time period.
For the holiday week of Thanksgiving.
For Thanksgiving weekend, the 3-day period, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we had a 75% occupancy in the US, which was down from 75.8% last year.
Wow.
So we had demand up about 2.5%. We had supply up about 3.5%, which means occupancy fell. And then for bonus points, who can guess which market had the highest occupancy during the Thanksgiving weekend? We'll end. No one's going to guess it. Number 1 was Broken Bow, and number 2 was Gatlinburg Pigeon Forge.
I was actually going to go with Broken Bow.
I was thinking Gatlinburg. I just had coffee with Tom Goodwin from Mount Laurel Chalet, so that's what.
Broken Bow is the loose cannon of all STR data.
Shout out to Paul and Chloe for their guesses.
Chloe, I feel like it's cheating. She's on the PR team of AirDNA, so Chloe will give you an honorary one. But just joking, Chloe. You're amazing. You can always guess, even though insider trading. Just joking, guys. No, that's good. Smoky Mountains. Yeah, Paul was guessing Smoky Mountains. Oh, yeah. Chloe guessed Orlando. I don't know.
Maybe she doesn't know it all. Maybe she's not getting the insight.
All right. I only pulled the data this morning. Okay. We only finalized it last night. So yeah, no one knew.
All right, Chloe, sorry. I'll take it back. I take it all back. I was wrong. Final story of today is where we saw this article come out on Phocuswright where outlining the trends, the challenges, and the future of vacation rentals. Eric and let me pull up my notes because I forgot the other guy's name, Sharad, were basically interviewed by Abby at Phocuswright about what's kind of the outlook and future of vacation rentals. And I'll be honest, I was expecting a lot more from the interview. Did not get a ton of new bites or nuggets, but what do you guys think?
Well, I had some really strong feelings before we went live. um, I I think that these conversations, I mean, you have people that are, I mean, kind of like adjacently related now to the industry.
Mhm.
And like Sharad is now the CEO of a tenant screening company and was ex Airbnb. But like, what about people that are actually operating these companies? There were just I feel like the takeaways are things that we've been talking about as an industry for like a decade, like more professionalization. There's, if you have a bigger
Consolidation,
group,
standardization.
yeah, you have a bigger group, there's higher pain points. Like, yeah. And I maybe this is just my operator defensiveness coming up, but it's like, okay, the people that are at many times like dropping the ball. You have some hosts who aren't professional, who don't have all the tools, and maybe they're dropping the ball. Although some professional hosts have very, very high review scores. But then when you get to the professional side, you standardizing and is way more difficult than I think people give it credit for. If you have, let's say, a 500 home portfolio across, a pretty large geographic area, how are you making sure that your inventory, that at your pillows, that everything is absolutely the same everywhere without increasing the labor costs? Because you need someone to physically go and check all of those things. You have all the drive times. You have to convince owners that they have to do things. You have like every single guest, like a guest could take a fork every stay or take a pepper shaker. And, like there's so many physical like challenges to making sure that to standardization, and not saying that that's something we shouldn't strive towards, but I am a little tired of being told by people that aren't in operator positions that we need to standardize without any like, okay, so then give me some solutions, because labor is getting more expensive. The cost of everything is getting more expensive. So I can't add more people to get into all of these. I can't ask the cleaners to do everything because those costs are already getting astronomical. And you just like, from a time perspective, can't do all of that. So, and it's not just from this interview, but like in general, instead of yelling at operators that we need to do better and be more professional, like how do we get hotel-like professionalization when we don't have that kind of centralization? We might not have the funds, and the cost of everything and the time is so much more than it is in other industries. So
Brandy rent, Brandy rent, Brandy rent.
I'm not sure I want to go next,
Yeah.
but I will. Brandy, the call for standards and professionalization is not a personal one towards you.
I know.
You do a great job. And yes, resources are limited in short-term rentals as compared to hotels in most cases. But that said, I think the call to standards and professionalization is more squarely directed at Airbnb, because there has to be an improvement of what you get from property to property. We went to Mexico as a group, and in our Airbnb, there was a camera in the living room. We told them ahead of time that who we were and what we were coming for. And there was a camera in the living room. There was one key for 4 people. It just was not up to professional standards.
Yeah.
That stuff is easy, Brandy, right? Like making sure that there's 16 forks instead of 15. Those are details and those are tough. Getting the basics like is an absolute must. And if you can't do that, then you don't belong in the industry.
Yeah. And I'm not, I think I come from not just my personal experience, but like operators in general, and seeing what's happening in terms of like how difficult it currently is to run these businesses on the ground. I do like things like cameras in the living room. Yeah. And there are certain things like I'm learning now how to deal with more individual owners, and that's a whole other sea of problems.
Mhm.
Because like, how do you get someone to like not demand that you use their sheets or bath mat, and like they're like, but I love Miss Bath Mat. Like it's it's like so yeah, there's all these I do agree it's not just aimed at these like necessarily inventory level things, but with Airbnb, our example was a professional host, but a lot of those are individual hosts, and they're not the ones that are invested in watching a Phocuswright interview for the most part. I'm going to blanket statement. So I guess the question is then, how do we access all of them? Airbnb is the one that has their ear, more or less.
Yeah, I was gonna say, even people not even watching the Focuswire interviews, a lot of hosts don't listen to this show, right? Like we have a lot of professionals that listen to the show, the Casagos, the bigger, brands that actually have employees and headcounts and real top line like revenue, not just like, my parents who bought a place in Orlando and are trying to rent it out to get the top Disney traveler, it's really a different thing. And so when you are calling out standardization and professionalism, I think is really important, Brandy, like what you said, though, to really give key examples. You can't just say it because it's a buzzword and then move on. You have to actually hit, what does that look like? What does standardization look like in the kitchen, in the bedroom, in the bathroom, in the amenity space? Like, how is the guest experience communication, standardized? How is all of this really played out? Because I think when you're in a hotel, it's really easy because you're consolidated. You're in one building. You have people, face-to-face contact, easy communication with housekeeping, maintenance, etc. Versus, this was a big theme in our Good Morning Hospitality retreat last year with Horst Schulze, who spoke as a guest speaker and got to go over all these things. It's dispersed inventory. When you have it so widespread, even just in a city, right? Like you could be in Denver and have 100 properties spread throughout 20 miles, 30 miles. It can go pretty far. So it's really, anyways, now I'm about to have a Brandy rant, so anyways, I just figured I agree.
Yeah, and I guess when we talk about professionalization and standardization in the industry, I think we need just like in general, when we talk about this, though, those are just such blanket statements. Like, what are the actual action items? What are some suggestions instead of demanding that it happens? Like, how does that happen? And what are some, and Airbnb, what are their suggestions to get individual hosts to not, to provide more than one key? How can you mandate that? You know what I mean? So it's like, let's have some action items instead of just saying the same thing over and over.
Agreed. I don't know if it's on Airbnb though. That's my one thing. When Michael said that, I don't think we should let the OTAs tell us what the standardized method is, right? Like they're a tech company. They should focus on tech and making what we suggest as the industry operators who are actually, owning, buying, managing these homes, taking care of the guests in good and in bad. That's my take, but I don't know. It has to start somewhere. So if the OTAs can get on board with that, then that's a great start.
Yeah, it has to be collaborative, because if Airbnb, for example, keeps chasing supply, and demand is up, but everyone still loses because they've overchased supply and demand hasn't followed in equal. That's the toughest part of a marketplace. Both sides of the marketplace have to grow at once.
Well, and everybody's standards are getting higher and higher. Expectations keep increasing. So, you used to have to bring your linens to your vacation home. So,
Yeah,
I remember that. Bring your own towel.
Yeah.
Very true. Yeah. Cool. Well, this was a fun episode. Fun start of the month. December is already passing by very quickly. I can already see like half the month is gone due to the holidays. So what are you guys looking forward to this week now that we are outside of the Thanksgiving period? Brandy?
I'm in just like absorption learning mode. I haven't started a new job in 10 years. So it's that's just trying to absorb as much as possible. So it's kind of like back to school.
I love it. How about you, Jamie? What are you looking forward to this week? I know Michael's going to be same old. So
yeah, as soon as we hang up, I am headed to the airport, flying down to Destin, Florida for the DARM Data and Revenue Management Conference. So I've got I think 5 sessions this year.
Wow.
And
data
0
nerds.
decks are complete right now. So I hope Amy and Rebecca aren't listening. But a lot of work to do on the way and on the plane.
Well, while you're having fun at Darm, we're also going to be getting ready for December 5th for the World Cup stats to start dropping, so we can have another tracking spike, I guess, in bookings.
Maybe a preview hint for next week's stat of the week.
Exactly.
Ooh.
Exactly. Michael, how about you, my friend?
Same old, just wrap it up. We got, I don't know what, 2 full weeks before people start really breaking for the holiday. So trying to get stuff done, wrap it up, and enjoy the holidays as much as possible. But yeah, I'm here just grinding away. Well, no flights, not this week.
Nice.
Love it. Love it. Well, for our listeners and viewers, December 17th is the last GMH episode of the year. That is the last episode due to, obviously, like Michael just said, everyone's going to be taking off for the holidays. Our hotel crew will be wrapping up their predictions episode that day. And so, yeah, we'll see you guys in the next year, which is going to be kind of crazy to actually all of us take a little bit of a break. It's going to be nice. Shout out to Skiff for giving everyone the holidays off because I don't have to work for like 2 weeks. That's going to be great. Yeah, and enjoy the mountains. But until then, thanks for tuning in to our live viewers. Paul Manzi, as always, we love seeing your bright and shiny face. And thank you to Chloe for engaging this week. I'm sorry for calling you an inside trader. Please forgive me. And for all of our other listeners, thank you for tuning in. And we'll see you guys on the next episode.